This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus and 17 Days of Star Wars. Let's talk about Jar Jar Binks. Someone asked that I talk about Jar Jar Binks, and I think we should talk about Jar Jar Binks. One of the most hated characters in Star Wars history, which is crazy because there's not many characters I could think of that people openly have a passionate dislike for in Star Wars history. Like, you guys know how I feel about Anakin Skywalker, young Anakin Skywalker. I don't like the character development, but it's not like I don't care for Anakin Skywalker, the character itself. I just don't care for the representation that we got in the prequels. That being said, Jar Jar Binks is that character that it's like, oh my god, why the fuck does this exist? But somehow Jar Jar Binks has worked his way into finding a place of prominence within the Star Wars universe, which is fucking trippy as hell. So, for those of you who may not have seen The Phantom Menace and the rest of the prequel movies, Jar Jar Binks was a character that was a Gungan from the planet of Naboo. The Gungans are probably one of the most offensive creations ever in movie history. Like, seriously. And me personally, it wasn't the offensive part that made me not like Jar Jar. I totally understand why people are offended by the Gungans and Jar Jar, because they talk in a very borderline racist way, I guess you could say. They speak with a mixture of, I guess, Caribbean and slave talk is the best way. It's a weird thing. It's like when you hear Jar Jar talk, if you ask him, Jar Jar, are you hungry? His response is, Misa really not hungry. Misa probably could just eat a snack, but Misa don't really want, like, why are you talking like that? That's very, very, like, bad. And I'm not capturing it the way it sounds in the movie, so if I can find a clip, I'll try to put a link in the description. But it's like listening to them talk, the Gungans. It's like, yo, did you decide to look at some old, like, 1930s, 1920s serials where the black character kind of always sound ignorant or something? It's weird, and I don't think by any means, first of all, people, let's not bang on George Lucas for the way they talk. I think we kind of went overboard a little bit. I don't think he had any intention of creating a character that could be racially offensive. I really don't think that's his intention. That being said, it was a bad choice. But hey, some people make bad choices. I don't think he was doing that intentionally. That being said, the Gungans ended up being a really bad blight, or, well, not necessarily a blight, but just a bad addition to the Star Wars universe. And Jar Jar was like the head of that badness. It wasn't just his mannerisms and his talk. It was just, I guess it is mannerisms, probably the major thing. For me, he was just this goofy, silly, dumb, comic relief character that was just over the top and overbearing. It wasn't necessary. Star Wars didn't need that type of character. I'm not sure what George Lucas was thinking when he was like, oh, we need this. I guess it goes back to his, again, I'm making something for my kids thing, when you think about Phantom Menace. And having established that in a movie for your kids, it was kind of hard to get away from that whenever you saw Jar Jar in any of the other movies. So he just ended up like no matter what, because he wasn't that over the top and overbearing like in Revenge of the Sith, but the way that he was established, it was just like there was no turning back for that character. That being said, he's kind of been redeemed now in the in recent history, because there was an article, a blog I think it was, that somebody put out where they speculated on Jar Jar being actually the true Sith Lord. And the information that they put out, the way that they like organized it, they made Jar Jar really seem like I don't know why I just moved my mic like that. I'm sorry, people, but they really put a good solid argument towards the character being the true Sith Lord, because they were like, okay, so he's always been this goofy, strange talking character. He would flail around awkwardly, moving his hands a lot. They argued that that's something that a Sith Lord or a Jedi would do. You know how like Obi-Wan in A New Hope, when they were talking to the guards and they were asking about the droid, and Obi-Wan would just do like this, wave his hands, just make a gesture to get people to agree. And it was like, whenever you saw Jar Jar doing the flailing and people would talk to him, they would always have something more positive to say, something that seemed like they were more agreeant with him or more sympathetic to him as a character, rather than any real hard. Nobody really had a harsh tone with him. They were more, kind of quote unquote accepting of him, which they attributed to his hand gestures pretty much mind fucking them into like, green. And one statement they said Obi-Wan made about like he doesn't believe there's such thing as luck, they attribute to that because one of the things is with force powers, you kind of foresee things, and you're able to predict what's going to happen before it happens. In some cases, look back to that Battle of Naboo, where Jar Jar somehow was able to survive through it in the like strangest way, even though he's a clumsy, goofy character. They attributed that to him having force powers, being able to balance himself, keep upright. You know what I mean? Like he would over exaggerate his clumsiness, but for some reason, his clumsiness would lead him to escaping certain things. It was wild. It's a very, very wild theory. It would be interesting if there was a way for J.J. Abrams to introduce that theory into the movies on a serious note, but it's kind of hard to fathom that happening, or to see it happening, because he's such a like iconic figure for his goofiness and his annoyingness, that for them to all of a sudden have him come out and be like, haha, I tricked you all, I was actually the power behind Palpatine, and that's why I'm still around. Although that would be one hell of a fucking reveal. That would be one fucking hell of a plot reveal. I don't know how we would act. That would just dumbfound a lot of people. But yeah, Jar Jar has now, because of that theory, gained a more prominent seat in the universe. Me personally, I don't believe in the theory, and I still am not a fan of Jar Jar, but I'm a fan of that idea of building this goofy, annoying, unnecessary character into possibly one of the, if not the greatest Sith Lords in the Star Wars universe. Simply because if he had turned out to be a fucking Sith Lord at the end of all this, he pulled off the greatest mind fuck that ever has happened. because no one would have saw that coming. And if he was the guy to reveal himself as the power behind the whole empire, and them crushing, the Jedi Knights, if he is the mastermind behind destroying the Jedi Order, that would be some goddamn mind-blowing shit right there. But hey, it is what it is. You guys let me know how you feel about Jar Jar Binks and that theory too. I would like to see what you guys think about that theory. But anyway, as always, hit me up, let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.